Boy 7 is examined in hospital, then doctor finds something strange and immediately calls police. The hospital was a sea of noise and activity filled with the sounds of beeping machines, nurses' footsteps and anxious whispers. It was a place of healing but also of uncertainty and fear. Hey there, Viral Videos here. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell. We post the most beautiful, amazing and scary videos every single day. Let's proceed with the video. For 7-year-old Timmy, it was a place of pain. His stomach had been hurting for days, growing worse by the hour. His parents had taken him to the hospital where a doctor had examined him and ordered a scan. Timmy lay on the cold metal bed, his small body rigid with fear. He closed his eyes tightly as the machine whirred and beeped, scanning his insides for any sign of trouble. He heard the doctor's voice, muffled and far away, as he read the results. Suddenly the room filled with a tense silence. Timmy's parents held their breath, waiting for the doctor to speak. Timmy sensed the unease in the air and his heart began to race. Finally the doctor spoke. "There's something strange on the scan," he said slowly, "something we need to investigate further." Timmy's parents looked at each other, their faces etched with worry. The doctor ordered more tests and Timmy was whisked away to another room. As he lay in the new room, Timmy couldn't shake the feeling of dread that had settled deep inside him. He didn't understand what was happening, but he knew it wasn't good. Hours passed as Timmy underwent more tests and scans. He felt like a lab rat, poked and prodded by strangers in white coats. He missed his bed, his toys and his home. He missed feeling safe. As night fell and the hospital grew quieter, Timmy began to feel alone and scared. His parents had gone home for the night, leaving him alone with the machines and the strange smells of the hospital. But then something happened that made him forget his fear for a moment. A nurse came into his room and offered him a small toy truck just like the one he had left behind at home. Timmy clutched the truck tightly, feeling a sense of comfort and connection to the outside world. Eventually Timmy fell asleep, exhausted and confused, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, that there was something inside him that didn't belong there. The next morning the doctor returned with more news. Timmy's scan had revealed something strange, something that needed urgent attention. The doctor didn't say what it was, but Timmy could tell from the worried look on his face that it was serious. Timmy's parents rushed back to the hospital, their faces ashen with fear. They hugged their son tightly, trying to reassure him. As they waited for the next round of tests, Timmy felt a sense of relief as his parents held him close, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was about to happen, something he couldn't understand or control. Something that would change his life forever. The next round of tests left Timmy feeling even more anxious than before. The machines beeped and whirred as if they were trying to send him a message he couldn't understand. Timmy's parents watched helplessly, their faces tight with worry. After what felt like hours, the doctor returned with a solemn expression on his face. "We found something on the scan," he said, "something that shouldn't be there." Timmy's heart pounded in his chest as he tried to make sense of the doctor's words. He didn't know what was happening, but he knew it was serious. The doctor explained that there was a small, unusual object inside Timmy's body and they needed to investigate further to determine what it was and how it got there. Timmy's parents were horrified, their faces etched with fear and confusion. The doctor ordered a series of more invasive tests, including a biopsy to determine the composition of the object. Timmy was scared and in pain, but he tried to stay brave for his parents' sake. The biopsy revealed that the object was made of an unusual material, one that wasn't found in the human body. The doctor was perplexed and ordered more tests to try and solve the mystery. As the days passed, Timmy's condition deteriorated. He became weaker and more listless, barely able to eat or drink. The doctors worked tirelessly to find a solution, but they were running out of ideas. Then one day something strange happened. Timmy's stomach began to hurt even more and he felt a sharp pain in his side. The doctors rushed to his room and ordered an emergency scan. What they found left them stunned. The object inside Timmy's body had shifted, revealing something even more shocking. A small diamond was lodged inside his stomach, one that had gone unnoticed during the previous scans. The doctors were amazed and confused. How had a diamond ended up inside a 7-year-old boy's body, and what did it have to do with the strange object they had found earlier? The doctor immediately called the police, suspecting that foul play was involved. Timmy's parents were beside themselves with worry, wondering who could have done something so cruel to their son. As Timmy lay in his hospital bed, he tried to make sense of what was happening. He didn't understand how a diamond had ended up inside him, but he knew it wasn't supposed to be there. He felt like a stranger in his own body, a victim of a crime he couldn't understand. The doctors continued to investigate, trying to piece together the strange and unsettling mystery, but for Timmy and his family the damage had already been done. Their world had been turned upside down and they didn't know if they would ever be able to find their way back to normalcy. The police arrived at the hospital soon after the doctors called, their presence causing a stir in the normally quiet halls. Timmy's parents were anxious and afraid, wondering what kind of danger their son was in. Detective Smithson introduced herself and her partner, explaining that they had been called to investigate a possible crime. She asked Timmy's parents to step outside the room so they could speak privately. Once they were alone, Detective Smithson began to ask Timmy questions about how he came to have a diamond inside his body. Timmy was scared and confused, unsure of how to answer the detective's questions. He didn't know where the diamond came from or how it got inside him. As the detective continued to question him, Timmy began to feel sick. His stomach hurt and he felt like he was going to throw up. Detective Smithson quickly summoned the doctor, who rushed in to examine Timmy. The doctor was alarmed by what he found. The diamond had shifted again, causing even more damage to Timmy's internal organs. He ordered emergency surgery to remove the diamond and repair the damage. As Timmy was wheeled into the operating room, Detective Smithson continued her investigation. She questioned Timmy's parents, trying to piece together any clues that might lead her to the person responsible for putting the diamond inside Timmy's body. But as the hours passed, the detective found herself no closer to solving the mystery. There were no witnesses, no suspects, and no motive. It seemed like an impossible case to crack. Meanwhile, Timmy's surgery was going well. The doctors were able to remove the diamond and repair the damage, but they were concerned about the long-term effects on his health. They ordered a battery of tests to monitor his progress and ensure that he was healing properly. As the days turned into weeks, Timmy slowly began to recover. His parents were overjoyed to see him feeling better, but they couldn't shake the fear that someone had deliberately harmed their son. They wondered if they would ever be able to find the answers they so desperately sought. Detective Smithson continued to work on the case, pursuing every lead and following every hunch. She scoured the hospital records, interviewed hospital staff, and even reached out to other hospitals to see if there were any similar cases. But despite her best efforts, the case remained a mystery. There was no evidence of foul play, no witnesses, and no motive. It seemed like the diamond had simply appeared inside Timmy's body out of nowhere. As the investigation wound down, Detective Smithson visited Timmy in the hospital to give him a small toy police car as a token of their friendship. She apologized for not being able to solve the case but promised to keep looking for answers. Timmy smiled, weakly grateful for the detective's kindness. As she left the room, he couldn't help but wonder about the strange and mysterious circumstances that had led him to be the center of a police investigation. He wondered if he would ever know the truth about what had happened to him and if he would ever be able to trust his body again. Weeks passed by and life went back to normal for Timmy and his family. Timmy had made a full recovery and the hospital visits had become less frequent. However, Timmy still couldn't shake off the strange feeling he had from the events that had taken place. One day, as Timmy was walking home from school, he noticed a man standing in the alleyway near his house. The man was wearing a dark hoodie and sunglasses, making it hard for Timmy to see his face. Something about the man seemed familiar to Timmy, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. Timmy tried to ignore the man and walked faster towards his house, but the man started to follow him. Timmy began to panic and ran towards his house, slamming the door shut behind him. As Timmy's parents comforted him, they noticed that Timmy was holding something tightly in his hand. It was a small piece of paper with a message written on it. The message read, "I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt anyone, I just needed to hide it somewhere safe." Timmy's parents were shocked by the message and immediately called Detective Smithson. They showed her the message and the detective's eyes widened in recognition. She asked Timmy's parents to come to the police station with her, where she opened a file cabinet and pulled out a folder. Inside the folder was a sketch of a man, and the detective pointed at it, saying, "That's him, that's the man who put the diamond inside Timmy's body." The man in the sketch was a well-known diamond smuggler who had been on the police's radar for years. The detective explained that the smuggler had been transporting a valuable diamond when he had been stopped by the police. He had panicked and swallowed the diamond to hide it from the police, but had been unable to retrieve it. He had then paid a surgeon to implant the diamond inside Timmy's body, thinking it would be safe there. The detective then told Timmy and his parents that they had been working tirelessly to catch the smuggler, and that the note that Timmy had found was the clue they had been waiting for. With the help of the note, they were able to track down the smuggler and bring him to justice. Timmy and his family were relieved to finally have some closure and were grateful to Detective Smithson and the police department for their hard work. As the days passed by, Timmy began to feel like himself again. He was able to put the traumatic experience behind him and look forward to a brighter future. His parents too were grateful for the resolution of the case and were happy to see their son happy and healthy once again. And as for the diamond, it was returned to its rightful owner and eventually sold for a record-breaking price. But for Timmy and his family, the true value of the diamond lay not in its monetary worth but in the closure it brought to their lives. What do you think about this story? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching. See you next time.